Stalingrad, advance to the Volga, 1942. This is a solitary area movement game in which the players takes control of German forces in Stalingrad in the opening moves of the battle for Stalingrad, and it's a solitary game. So you are the German player, and the system controls the Soviet defenders. So the map is divided into areas of different shapes, so that there is a variable number of areas to which each area is adjacent. At the beginning of the game, you will place your German forces in starting areas that are here on the side and some up there. And your forces are represented by these counters, and we have infantry and we have motorized, combat value, and then movement value, and they only have values printed on one side because after they act or they suffer some negative effects, they're flipped to the spent side with no value indicated on it whatsoever because they cannot do anything. Also, units belong to different groups, and when at least 3 groups of the same kind or 2 units of from the same group are attacking together, then they get a bonus called a divisional bonus, unless there are a couple of other game effects that play into that. As for the defenders, you place 1 in each area at the beginning of the game, in each area indicated as a Soviet area, as indicated by the fact that the top half of the symbol for that area is red. And they have different shapes to indicate different kinds of terrain. So we have units that go into light urban areas, elevations, elevated terrain, and then we have heavy urban areas and clear. On the other side, you will have different kinds of defenders with different defending value, and that is what the number in the bottom right corner indicates, and also other indications such as ambush, barrage, a lot of ambushes here, but you have really a variety of different things that these people are gonna attempt against you, and you have a very well laid out player aid that tells you all the stuff that actually may be there: heroes, ambushes, barrage, fanatics, guards. And if you pause and read, you know what they do. Basically, when you enter an area that has an unrevealed marker, you will reveal it, and then you will resolve the effect that will apply only this turn. Meaning, if the marker is still there the following turn, you don't have to worry about the game effect. You still have to worry about the defense value that you had to beat. And so the defense value also will be combined together with the defense value printed on the map. So for example, right now, the Soviets in this area have a total value of 10 because of that. So between the unique effects, between the changing values and the terrain, you're going to have a variety of different things that you have to face as you advance in your mission. Luckily enough, you also will have some support, hopefully, and that's another big part of the game. Now, before I had too much. Each turn starts with a dawn phase in which you're gonna do a little bit of upkeep, of course, and you're gonna do things such as seeing if you have reinforcements that need to be added to the map, if there is a withdrawal scheduled on the turn track. Then you're gonna have a random event phase in which you're gonna roll dice and you see what kind of event may happen for that turn. Again, we turn to our trusty player aid one more time. Resolve the event that will be in play for that turn. Again, changing conditions and circumstances. After that, we have a super important thing. That is, we roll for supplies. We roll dice to generate supply points, which then we can spend. I guess you guessed it. We take a look at the player aid. We use them to buy these things. So, for example, I could spend a supply point to buy an artillery support, which I'll take in my available support units box. I could spend 2 points for engineering and then 3 points for air support. Also, if some of my units have been eliminated, I can spend the points to bring them back. Infantry cost me 1 supply points and armor cost me 2. Also, morale is a very important factor in the game. You don't want it to go down to 0. You really don't even want it to go below 10, because if it does that, it goes down to 9, then it becomes low morale and you're gonna have a penalty. And so you want it to be between 19 and 10. Many game effects will reduce your morale, and so you may want to spend supplies to send them some good stuff that makes your soldiers a little happy and restores some of their morale. So after the supply phase, you probably should have some tokens, some counters here in the available support units, which you bought by using your supply points, which remember you rolled previously. So dawn phase, random event phase, dawn phase, random event, supply phase, and now we get to the combat phase, which is the heart of the game. It is when you activate your units for movement and for combat. Similar to other area movement games, the number of movement points that it costs to move is mainly determined by the presence of enemy units, whether they're sitting there, revealed or unrevealed. And so sometimes you just can't get there because moving next to a unit costs, well, too many points to move next and then also attacking. In most cases, the effect will be that you will spend a turn to get adjacent to a unit and then you jump in and you reveal what it does and you face the music. For example, I'm facing some heroes in the clear, so that is not too bad. Now, moving and attacking, of course, you will want to do that. To attack, your attack value is the sum of a roll of 2 dice plus the full combat value of a unit that you will determine to be the lead unit, plus another point for each supporting combat unit. You can only have 4 units per area at all times, not even like driving through, at all times. So full combat strength, plus 1 for supporting units, plus 1 point if you have the divisional bonus, 3 units from the same division attacking together, plus 1 if your morale is strong enough, and again, and then other bonuses for these markers if you decide to spend them for that activity. And that will determine your attack total. Then you have to compare with their defense total, which is their intrinsic defense, the defense of the terrain. You may modify it by using air support, to which will actually reduce their total by 86. Other modifiers will apply. But as you imagine, the idea is that you're trying to have an attack total which is higher than theirs. If it is good for you, then you get to remove that unit, the enemy defender, you take control of the area. Otherwise, if it's a standstill, well, you stay there. And if you lost the battle, then you lose your lead unit and everybody else has to retreat. And in any case, even if you win and you're so cool and you don't retreat, at the end everybody will be spent. And so the combat phase will simply continue activation after activation until either all of your units are spent or you decide that you had enough pain for that turn. Maybe you want to save some support units for next turn and you decide that that's good enough. This is the general idea. Your objective, of course, is we're in Stalingrad. You're trying to take control of the map, all of it ideally, or as much as possible otherwise. These that I explain are the basic rules, so then you can add more optional rules such as rubble, the effect of elevation, different things. There's also a shorter scenario. But generally speaking, this is how you play Stalingrad, advance to the Volga, 1942. I'm really impressed with this game. Everything works. The production values are very high, higher than other games by the same publisher, Revolution Games. from the box, the mounted board, the tokens, everything just looks nice. The rulebook is in color, the rulebook is well laid out, and then when it comes to the game itself, it's really good. It relies on ideas, on mechanics that I'm familiar with, that I play from other games, and that I already enjoy. I like area movement games. I think they create a nice sense of tension, of mounting dread, which works very well with this topic here, because you're starting pretty good. Your morale is high, and sure, they from time to time they spring a barrage at you. There is bad stuff that's happening, but you're also spending all of your supplies to reinforce your troops, to create to get support, so your attacks are powerful. You can do a good initial push, but sooner or later some bad die rolls will cause you to start losing some morale, and then you're worried about it, and then you start spending supplies to fix that, so you have less support units, which increases your chances of, yes, you got it, losing more units, losing more morale. So you really get the sense that you increasingly start catching up rather than driving the action. And again, given the topic, the meat grinding feel that you have is absolutely appropriate. Something that I worried about was replay value, because overall the script is going to be very similar from time to time. And even, variety within the game, because, well, now I meet some fanatics and some heroes. Next time is going to be some heroes and some fanatics. And yet, neither of those two things that I worried about before playing the game actually turned out to be an issue. From the point of view of the internal narrative, again, that the sense of quick decline, of impending doom, of a deadline that is approaching and you're running against it, is strong enough that the turns don't exactly feel the same, although they're very similar. Again, from time to time, yeah, meeting a hero and a fanatic is different from meeting a fanatic and a barrage. There's just enough of that, but really what changes is the diminishing amount of time that you have and then diminishing resources, and that is enough to create a sense of punctuation and progression. And from game to game, you can try different things, and then again, it just feels like you will be able to play the thing a couple of times, a good number of times before, well, the fact that overall it is still the same script, before that sinks in and maybe makes the game a little less palatable. And then maybe we'll have another game in the same system. It says here on the box, Volume 1. I know they always say that, but I hope that that is the case, that there will be more volumes, because I like the idea of this game system, which I used to play solitaire, even though the games were not solitaire. I used to play multiplayer solo games with area movement games. Now that we have true solo, I think that the designer did a really good job of creating a lot of variety with the events, with the unique abilities of the defenders, with the shifting resources that you have. I think the designer did a really good job of creating a sense of variety from what ultimately is a pretty static situation. They sit there, you gotta kill them, you gotta destroy them. And yet there are many interesting dilemmas that emerge from the various ways in which you can attempt to do so. So as I said, very happy, very impressed with Stalingrad. It's a nice, solid implementation of solid mechanics, and the result is very fun to play.